Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of On Point EDC. Today we have a very cool limited edition for you from Kizer. Now a little bit about Kizer. They were founded in 2012. They have a brand that is actually made in China, which in this case is not a bad thing at all. And their market segment basically is high-end knives at mid-range prices. So a little bit about the whole made in China thing. Little disclaimer that's out there. I know there are a lot of great knives that are made in the US and a lot of even very affordable options. I own a lot of those, so go ahead and check out my videos for that. But I'm not going to discriminate against a good knife. I don't care where it's built. If it's a good value and it's well built, I'm going to like it, and it's not going to stop me from buying it, because honestly there are a lot of not so great knives also that I can find made in the US that actually cost a lot more, that don't have the same quality control. So I gotta say, good on Kizer for teaming up with American knife makers and putting out something that is really cool and that does promote at the same time still American knife making, because the designers are American. So I thought that was pretty cool, and just something to address. So now a little bit about the type of knife. These, it's of course a titanium frame lock folding knife. It uses that Chris Reeve style integral lock, or what we normally will call it now as a frame lock, which is just an evolution of the Walker liner lock. Let's go ahead and zoom out and sneak in our customary wristwatch check here. So today I'm wearing my Hamilton khaki chronograph automatic. So really nice, kind of in the spirit of things being a little bit more modestly sized. This is a 38 millimeter watch, and this is a smaller knife. This is the mini version of the Intrepid, and and that's kind of part of its charm, in that it's a very custom special edition from Kizer Knives. So as you can see, let's go ahead and so we got a chronograph. Might as well run it in here so you can get it going. So this is definitely a really great option if you're looking for a mechanical chronograph watch, and then that also happens to be powered by a Swiss Valjoux movement. I mean, this is really tough to beat. I mean, you'll see this exact same movement, a little bit finer decorated, but in much more expensive timepieces. So it's really nice to have that in a Hamilton. They have a nice history with American watchmaking. So they have these really great styles that, I mean, these aren't just styles that they purchased. These are styles that go way back and that actually do hold some heritage in their lineage of watchmaking. So really great piece. Make sure to check out the video review on my channel if you haven't already. So that's what's flopping around on my wrist while we get into this, and let's pick this bad boy up. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the mini Intrepid. So it's essentially just a smaller version of of the full-sized Intrepid. So really nice piece, and the full-size Intrepid already had great reviews. And the mini Intrepid, when I saw that it came out, I was very interested. I was, of course, a little concerned because, I had just bought an Ursa Minor. But so let's go ahead and get that out of the way. As far as size goes, I'd say the Ursa Minor would be mid-size. This would be, kind of mini and micro on that end. So although, as you can see here, handle-wise, not too much of a difference. Same story goes for the blade as well, in that there's really not too much of a difference. It is smaller. And then, of course, the blade finishing and the material in the blade is different. But, I feel like the ergonomics on this one, of course, the design aesthetic, because this handle was actually made, designed with this blade in mind, versus this handle, which is from the Gemini. And then kind of, came out with special version, basically. So the Intrepid, the full size, is based on the Bear, and then this is the Ursa Minor, which is based on the Baby Bear, which is a custom knife. And then this one kind of gets even smaller, as you can see. I guess that would probably force this perspective to make this look a little bit bigger. Then we put it there. Now it looks a little bit smaller. We'll put them side to side, and it should give you a little bit more of a true telling there. Then some of the differences, as you can see, flow through design versus having that back spacer, which lighten things up. And then we have a milled pocket clip. Here we have a spring clip, but it's very nice. Also, the hardware isn't blued. It's just nice and raw, which I think looks really good, especially playing off of that blade, which is more satin finished versus the stonewash finish on the Ursa Minor. So action is very, very similar, and of course very, very good. I mean, that thing just wants to fall shut. Even the shorter, smaller blade still wants to fall shut. So really great. So with that out of the way, I'll go ahead and pull this out of frame, and we'll get a little bit more into these details. So the retail price on this is $306, and the street price, basically, what you can find it for, is going to be right around $253. And is that expensive? Yes, I think it's a little bit pricey, but honestly, considering what you're getting, considering the build quality on this, and then I mean, honestly, just the fact that it's M390, and it is a good looking design, I gotta say, and it has all the bells and whistles, ceramic ball bearing pivot, nice little lock insert here made out of steel, so you don't have hardened steel up against titanium. So I mean, this really flow through design, and then you add to the fact that this is a limited edition, as you can see, out of 500 units there, if I can get that to focus. So really, really cool. I gotta say, there's definitely other ways to spend your money, but if you're looking for M390 in something that's really pocketable, truly pocketable, I'm having trouble thinking of what might be a better option than this. And I do have a couple options off camera that I'll be pulling into frame here in a bit. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about some of these specs in a little bit more detail. So the blade steel is Bowler M390, which is an ultra premium steel, and it's basically kind of the knife maker's darling metal right now. It's it's 5s across the board. It doesn't sacrifice any one feature to excel in another. It's just kind of the it metal right now, and rightfully so. So I mean, it holds an edge, it takes an edge, it's corrosive resistant, and it's stainless. So I mean, it's just got a lot going for it, and it's nice, and it has a good Rockwell hardness without being brittle. So I mean, it's just great steel, and it's kind of, when I see special editions now that come out in M390, I kind of hop on those because they do disappear so fast, and people flip those really quick. So let's say I did want to sell this once these were sold out. I don't collect knives or watches for that matter, but it's nice to kind of have that in the back of your head as a little bonus, kind of buying perk, is that this is something that will retain its value. So, I did post the specs earlier, but, I'll touch on it again very quickly. The overall length is right under 7 inches at basically 6 3/4. The blade length is right at 3. Closed length is right underneath 4 inches at 3 3/4, and then we also have a slightly above 3 ounce weight, which is actually really, really nice. it feels solid in the hand, you know, and substantial, without feeling, you know, a little bit too light, and where you're kind of questioning it in your hand. Of course, lighter is better in the pocket, but in the hand, it's not always the case, because you want to have that nice balance. And oh, I actually skipped over this a second ago. Let's talk a little bit more about the blade. So as you can see, it's a very nice drop point with that kind of nice harpoon little cutout, which I think aesthetically is very nice, but also functionally is a nice place to kind of rest my thumb. The grind, as you can see, is a really nice hollow grind, and that very eye-catching satin finish, and it is extremely sharp out of the box. This one just is literally like a hot knife through butter. This thing just flows through things so effortlessly when cutting. You know, I don't hard use this, or really any of my knives. I think I have probably a combo edge Delica 4 that I, you know, have treated pretty roughly. But other than that, you know, these knives live a very pedestrian lifestyle. So they definitely are able to cut through, and do need to be sharp all the time, because I don't go hacking away with these. This is, you know, when I need to cut through a box or some paper or anything like that, or, you know, cut some tags off of something, it's they're always ready there. So definitely really nice to have it so sharp, and it also kind of suits in that it's, you know, that premium edition of a very cool blade already. So in hand, you know, the ergonomics are fantastic. You know, it just fills the hand nicely, because although it is a bit short, it's nice and wide, and that choil is really nice, lines up, and, you know, it doesn't, like, this part right here actually suits your fingers. Like, if you want to choke up a little bit less, you can get all 4 fingers right there across, or you can choke up on it a lot more, but there's still enough to where your pinky can still be engaged, which is very nice. It doesn't just get lost. It still can lock in and give you that real feeling of purchase and security. And it doesn't have any like weird shapes there that are going to be weird for your pinky finger to find a home on. It just can lock in very easily and very nicely. Now, of course, the flipper tab, very nice already. You know, Kizer's really known for their flipping action, and of course Ray Laconico, you know, the designer of the knife, really, really fantastic minimalist kind of designs, and that flipper becomes a very nice little thumb guard, or finger guard there, I should say, and you know, it keeps you from kind of getting cut. So that's a nice little feature, and I think it helps balance that choil and really creates a separation between the blade and the handle in a really nice, subtle way. So the action, I mean, wow. Smooth and fast on the open and the close. Some knives have really good opening action, others can close really well. I feel like this really can do both extremely well. I can just shake it out there and it just wants to fall down. So of course, you know, it's a smaller, shorter blade, so I mean, if this was a big honking knife, I'm sure this would just fall shut, I mean, pretty easily. The Ursa Minor is, you know, falls shut even smoother, but this definitely, for the size and the scale of it, I gotta say, really, really nicely done. And then, you know, it really ties back into that, you know, ceramic ball bearing pivot, really ultra smooth there, and the detent is very nice. I think it's really perfectly dialed in. It's not too strong, and definitely not too loose. It's not, you don't have to worry about the blade popping out in your pocket at any time. You know, if I was to try to pull this out, it's not like I could do it very easily right there. So I finally was able to get it going if I pull it right at the right spot. But I mean, otherwise, you know, that blade's not going anywhere without me hitting the flipper. So yeah, really satisfying flip action, you know, right in line with its family, which, you know, kind of the Laconico Kizer collaborations have all been really, really outstanding as far as flipping action goes. Now, as far as the actual flip itself, you know, it works really well for light switch, which depending from where you're from, a light switch, but in the US, a light switch is you taking your finger there and flipping the switch. So flipping it down from the top would be considered light switch, and then push button would be pushing right here like a button. So you build up a little bit of torque and then push right there. So it works both ways really nicely, but I think, of course, it works better for light switch. And then the Gemini, it really closes even nicer than the Gemini. Not quite as nice as the Ursa Minor, but I believe it's only because of the blade size and weight. I think if it basically it's just a size down version, so it has all the things that we liked about it, but of course it's a little bit lighter, so it's not gonna fall shut quite as easy, but definitely, you know, fall shut with very little fanfare. So really nice. All right, in pocket, it lays nice and flat. It's unobtrusive. You know, although this is a spring clip, it's a nicely done spring clip. It actually is a bit reminiscent to me of my Sebenza spring clip. So it's well done, and at first I was kind of hoping that you know, it would have had a milled clip, and I kind of saw this as a missed opportunity. But when I really looked at it, I started thinking, man, how much wider would that have made it? And for being such a short knife, if it was to have a wide milled clip, like let's say on the Ursa Minor, it would have definitely added a lot more girth, and probably unnecessary girth at that. So something to keep in mind if you were bummed out that it didn't have a milled clip. I don't really think it's an issue. I think they really made the right call on that one. Plus it keeps it lighter, you know, which is really nice, because the Intrepid was a large, it still is in production and everything. So it's a larger knife, full size, and then you know, it also has a little extra added weight from backspacers and whatnot. Instead, now we have these great standoffs, which helps it stay even lighter and nice pass-through design, easier to clean. So, you know, I gotta say I really do like it with the pocket clip, and it sits really nicely. And now as far as model variants go, you know, there are of course the other limited editions, which are smaller versions of full-size Kizer designs in different collaborations, you know, and they have the M390 steel, and of course, you know, the titanium, you know, and then also the plain hardware. So there's that family of variants, but then there's also the variants of, you know, the Gemini and the Ursa Minor and the Intrepid. So those are also there if you're looking for a different size or maybe a slightly different aesthetic. Those options are out there for you. Now, as far as comparable options go, let's go ahead and take a couple and quickly get them out here on the screen. I'd say a really close comparable option is going to be the Lion Steel TRE. Also, Bowler M390 also have that little harpoon, little swedge cut out there. Really nice. You know, of course, the finishing is fantastic on the Lion Steel. You know, Lion Steel has beat out Chris Reeve for Manufacturer of the Year a couple times now. And this was a Knife of the Year. But everything I'd say is really, really excellent on here. But then there's the actual functionality, and that's where I think as you can see, all right, the Lion Steel falls a little bit short. My flip has to be much more deliberate here for me to get it to flip. The action just isn't. I mean, I'd say actually the action is really good. The detent is a little weak, and the flipper tab is too small. But, you know, quality-wise, really fantastic. But as far as usability, you know, the Mini Intrepid, it just is something special all on its own. So let's get that there. Then another option for similar sized would be, of course, the Doug Ritter Mini Grip, which is also M390. you know, really nice stonewash finish. And then I have these Wilkins grip scales on here to kind of complete the premium feel. And, you know, all the money you're going to spend on that and time, you know, you could save it if you wanted to go for, you know, traditional flipper versus the axis lock. But really nice. I'd say it stacks up pretty well here. Nice amount of belly, very useful and sharp edge on the blade. I think this is a bit more handsome, although this is more unique and, you know, definitely has more of a utility feel to it, a premium utility, of course, because the design aesthetic is extremely nice. So, I mean, I'd say if you're looking for M390 in a really compact size, you know, these are kind of going to be your options, and they all do have kind of their pros and cons, you know, as far as, you know, higher price, you know, some work you're gonna have to do out of the box to get it there, and then of course, you know, a little bit less prestigious, kind of made in China background. But, you know, I think Kizer's definitely poised to keep doing great things. I think they've already kind of proven that they're able to do some really awesome work and put really great knives out there at really attainable prices, and I think the right prices. So really, really cool. Couldn't be happier with this guy. I mean, it finds a lot of carry time, and for very good reason. It's just a great piece. Nothing against the Line Steel TRE, fantastic knife. Definitely nothing against it. I mean, this is one of my favorite. It's just fantastic in hand, weighted really nicely, and of course that axis lock is pretty fantastic. Whoa. Yeah, I'm getting used to flipping now, so I gotta play with it a little bit more to get used back to messing with the axis lock. So, okay. So pull that off, get this guy off screen here, and let's just close on this wonderful guy. So let's go into some closing thoughts here. Now, as far as the Mini Intrepid goes, you know, it is a, you know, it's an ultra premium mini EDC version of an already well-loved design. I mean, there are videos that are out there right now, if you search Kizer Intrepid, where people will say, hey, it's the best bang per buck probably knife you can get out there right now. And, you know, and I'd say kind of from that, in that same, you know, tune, the smaller variants, you know, that are kind of similar, and also from Ray Laconico designs, you know, like the Gemini or the Ursa Minor, all also follow suit. I think kind of at each size level and each size range, these are going to be some of the most value-rich knives you're going to find out on the market. I really haven't met anybody that has had too many big problems with any of these Laconico models. You know, I think they've had some issues with screw stripping. I haven't had the same experience, and I think I did have some issues with my Gemini as far as the anodization on the hardware goes. But I mean, they actually, you know, I just hit up Kizer on Facebook and they sent me out new hardware, no questions asked, free of charge, which was great. You know, of course, it did take quite some time coming out a standard mail from China, but I didn't have to worry about it. It was set it and forget it. They even threw in a new milled pocket clip, which was very nice. So let me know what you guys think of this piece. Is it going to make it into your collection? What do you think about it in mine? If you found this video helpful in any way, please hit like. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys. Bye.